Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Justin Glover from results513.com, and all of you guys are business owners, right? My guess is that all of you want to grow and expand your business. Am I correct in that? Does anybody not want to do that? Okay, so there's only three ways to actually grow any enterprise. Jay Abraham teaches on this, and the first way is to go out and get more customers. And that's the thing that most people try to do, and that's what most people think about when they want to grow their business, is how do I go out and actually get more customers? The second way is to put something in place so that your customers actually spend more money with you whenever they do make a purchase. And the third way is to get the customers to come back and spend more money with you more often. So what I'm going to talk about in this particular talk is the first way, get more customers. That's where most people like to focus, so that's what we're going to talk about. And I want to really make this whole process easier for all of you. There's a concept called cheese and whiskers. Has anybody ever heard of this concept taught? Okay, so cheese and whiskers is a concept I wish that I could take credit for, but I did not come up with it. A guy named Dean Jackson is who I heard it from. Dean has a podcast called the I Love Marketing podcast. It's really good stuff. Go check it out if you haven't heard it. But he talks about this concept called cheese and whiskers, and what cheese and whiskers is a framework that can be installed into any business that will help you get more customers easier, where you're not actually going out and making the cold calls and doing the nasty feeling customer generating stuff that we don't really like and enjoy doing. This is a completely different thought process about going and creating customers. So let's get into it. To give you some context about how this actually works, mice are very, very similar to us as humans in terms of the way that they actually respond to a situation. So when you do something to a mouse, that mouse is going to respond very similar to the same way a human would respond if you did that same thing to a human. And that's the reason that we use mice in lab tests. That's one of the reasons they do that. And so if you think about a mouse, they have two prime directives in life. Number one, get cheese. Number two, avoid cats. So a mouse will literally chew a hole through a 3-foot wall to get a piece of cheese. And the first sign of a whisker, whenever he sees a cat, he's out of there. He's running as fast as he can in the opposite direction. Well, us as humans are very similar in that regard. We do the things that are cheese-like in our life. We gravitate towards them, and we run from the things that are whiskers-like. The first sign of a whisker, pain, anything that we don't like, we go away from it. And so with that in mind, that's really how we need to actually approach marketing and generating new customers as business owners. So the best way to actually demonstrate this and teach it is through example. So I'll give you a quick example that Dean used, and he talked about a company that started a new division, and they were going to do some birthday card marketing. This was a company that goes into different businesses and helps them generate more clients. And so this particular division of the company was all about birthday card marketing. And so what they did is they wanted to get a restaurant as a new client. And so they got a list of like 3,600 restaurant owners in that local area and actually put together a presentation, put together an email that they wanted to send out to this list of restaurant owners. They didn't know all they had was their email address. They didn't know if they were the owner of the restaurant, if they were just the general collection email, if they were somebody that's at the front desk. They had no idea. All they had was the email address. So they put together this really beautiful HTML email with their logo at the top, and it listed how long they'd been in business. It talked all about them, really, really made them look like a big hero. Went through all of the stuff that they could actually do and why these business owners should call them and have them do birthday card marketing. Well, they sent that beautiful email out to 3,600 people, and they got 0 responses. Nobody actually clicked on the email and went to their website, and they didn't actually generate a lead. So they were thinking, all right, well, maybe this is because it was a bad email list or old, or they didn't get them or whatever. And then Dean came along and helped them apply this concept of cheese and whiskers and try it again. And on the second time, they got a whole different type of result. So what they did the second time is Basically, you want to create something that has a tone of giving, all right? So a tone of cheese. You want to lead with the cheese. And when I say cheese, all of our prospects that we're marketing to, all of the customers that we're trying to get, they all have a cheese, a thing that they want, a desire that they're after, a result that they're wanting to accomplish. And that's what we have to focus on. So this second go around, when he sent the email out, the subject line was very simple. All it said was the name of the restaurant, which in this case was Dominic's. So the subject line of the email said Dominic's. And the email was not HTML. It had no graphics in it. It was sent from a Gmail address, actually. They went and created a Gmail address and sent it out. And Dean told them, only send this to a few people because I know this is going to work. Don't send it to the whole list. So they didn't listen. They sent it to the whole list anyway. And the body of the email, so the subject line was Dominic's, which was the name of the restaurant. The body of the email, all it said was one simple thing, one simple question. It said, do you do birthday parties? Question mark. And then it had their name, Jim. That's all it said. From that one email to the exact same list of 3,600 restaurant owners that they'd sent the previous week, got 0 clicks, they got 800 plus replies, not clicks, but people replying to them saying, yes, we do birthday card market, or we do birthday parties. How many is going to be in your party? When's the date? Now all of a sudden they're selling them on why they should come to them and actually have their birthday party there. So 800 plus replies, not opens from this first one. Now, once they reply, that's just the first part, getting them engaged in a conversation. The second part is you've actually got to respond back. So the second email that they sent back said, great, I've been working with so-and-so, another restaurant owner in the area, and they're at capacity right now. Can you accommodate 5 to 6 birthdays a month? If I were to send you 5 or 6 new birthday parties a month, could you accommodate that? And now all of a sudden they're mouths watering. Of course, yes, absolutely. And if that person was, say, the greeter or the hostess at that restaurant, somebody, if you think about a business, everybody in most any business is allowed to take in money, to bring money, to do things to bring in money to the business. But in that same exact business, very few people are actually allowed to do things that spend money. There's only a couple of people usually that are authorized to actually do that. So even if these emails were getting to the front line, so to speak, the hostesses or the gatekeepers, at this point, now they're taking that email back to the decision maker, and they're saying, hey, I got this guy, he's asking questions, talking about bringing in 5 or 6 birthdays. Now all of a sudden, the decision maker is in direct communication with you and trying to actually get you to choose them and really selling you on why you should work with them. And so that's the second email. And then the third part of this, which I don't have time to go into today, but you need to make them an irresistible offer. Once you actually get in, which is the first step and the most difficult step for most of us, getting engaged in that conversation. But once you do that, it becomes very easy. If you make them an irresistible offer, and in this particular case, it was giving them a test. Hey, let's start with a test. Let's do 200. Here's what I've done for them. Here's a video that shows, explains everything. Let's start you off with a test. And if this test of 200 people doesn't double your money in a certain period of time, I'll give you your money back. And so it's an irresistible offer at that point. And this is, again, the same list that generated 0 results from the first email. So that's just an example of what I mean by leading with cheese, and focus on the things that your prospect actually wants, and not leading with whiskers, which most of us actually do. And I guarantee you that if you guys were all to look at your marketing that you're currently putting out, there's some whiskers in there. And I would encourage you, as far as like, how do we, what do we take from this? What's some practical application? I would encourage all of you to do what I call a cheese audit in all of your marketing. Go through your marketing and find out what am I saying? Am I actually leading with the thing that they want? Or am I making myself or my product or my service the hero? Who's the hero in my marketing? If it's all about you, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it the hard way. You've got to go out and actually make it all about them. So go through and actually do a cheese audit. Now, the look and feel of the ad plays a big role. I told you the first one was a big HTML, fancy, pretty pictures, all of this stuff. Brenda alluded to this earlier, even when you're doing advertising on different platforms. If it looks like an ad, if it smells like an ad, if there's any sign of a whisker, people are running from it. They're not going to gravitate towards it. So you gotta, the look and feel is important. The second thing is, does it get someone to actually engage in dialogue? So there's 3 ingredients to really get people to engage in dialogue. This email that I mentioned had all 3 of them. Number 1, keep it short. Number 2, make it personal. And number 3, make it so that it's expecting a reply. This was just a simple question. One of the greatest emails that you can send out to wake up a dead list, if you have a dead list, or people that haven't responded to you, is you can just send them a simple email that says, are you still interested in blank? Whatever that desire was that caused them to join. So in our industry, people join our email list and follow us because they like to learn how to grow their business, make money, use the internet, do that type of thing. So an email to wake up that type of list would simply say, are you still interested in making money on the internet? Question mark. That gets people to engage back. And then now you're engaged in conversation. It's more personal to them. You can talk to them personally one-on-one and really go ahead and make that sale. Now, it's more work logistically, but it's so much of a better result that the extra work doesn't even matter. So there's 3 characteristics of Whiskers in your marketing. All right, 3 things to really look for. If it looks like it's all about the sender, if it's all about me, all about my product, all about my service, then that's Whiskers. You gotta, if you're doing that in your marketing, try the other way. Take that part out and see how much better it actually works. The second characteristic is you've gotta know, you make your marketing all about the cheese, all right? So it looks like a sales job, all right? If it's obviously selling and it's an obvious ad, you know, here's what we do, here's how long we've been doing it, then that's Whiskers. People are going to run from that. The third one is it could be sent to anyone. If people read your email or see your message and they feel like, oh, he's not talking to me, he's talking to the masses, that's unpersonalized, so that's not going to be nearly as effective. If you can make it and craft it in a way where they think you're talking specifically to them, then it's going to be so much more effective. All right, so those are 3 things to actually look for in your marketing to take out. Those are the Whiskers. So the cheese, things that you want to make sure and replace those with, number 1, know exactly who you're actually talking to so you can identify their cheese. If you don't know who your prospect is, who your ideal client is, then you won't be able to correctly identify what is it that they really want, because that's the first step. If you don't know what they really want, then you can't present them a solution and give them that opportunity. The second thing is make sure your marketing is all about that. Once you know and identify what their cheese is, you got to make your marketing all about it. And then the third thing is make sure that there's no risk in the offer. Whenever you do get to the point of making that offer, you want to make it risk-free. That's most oftentimes the single biggest thing that prevents people from doing it because there's a risk involved, especially in service-based products and businesses. If there's a risk factor involved, then they're not going to. It's a whole different style of selling that you got to take on. So the name of the game really should be more cheese in your marketing and less Whiskers. So go ahead and do the cheese and Whiskers audit of your marketing. Look through everything. What is it that you're offering cheese to, or who is it? Make sure that you actually have good cheese to offer them. And then one final thing that I'll leave you with is a question that you can ask to know that you're actually presenting and making them an irresistible offer. And consider the question, what would you do, what offer would you make if you only got paid after your prospect got the result that they want? And structure your offer, try to structure your offer around that. So make it so, you know, look, if you don't double your money, you don't pay, or I'll give you your money back. Make it so that you have to deliver on the result that they want, or you don't get paid. And if you can do that, you'll do a better job delivering, and they'll be a more happy customer, and life's going to be grand. So that's all about cheese and how you can actually use it to get more customers. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you soon.